Good evening, good day, good morning, whenever it is that you're watching this show. I am Jake Podger, joined by my best friend Ian Leakey, who grew up with me since the young age of 5 years old. And we've been thinking about doing a show together, like a legitimate podcast show. And, without further ado, I'm going to introduce us as the Pigskin Poets. This is episode one. This is something that's been in the works for quite some time, and we've been excited for this. We want to talk about football maybe in a different way than most other folks talk about it. We like to romanticize the game. We have kind of a unique perspective, and I'm not suggesting that we're more special than other people or anything like that, but the way that we view the game is just a little bit different than other folks, and we want to share it with the world, and we want to hop on and get on some tangents and talk about the Buffalo Bills and the NFL and all these other things, and kind of just ramble and do our thing. So Ian, I'm going to introduce you, and we'll talk about our first topic in a little bit here, but just want to kind of give a nice intro and give the folks just an overview of your experience as a football fan, playing the game, watching the game, etc. So I'm going to let you take it away here.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up with Jake, obviously. We've known each other since we were like 5 years old, I think. I can't believe it's like we're going on to like 25 years here of
Yeah, it's
knowing each
crazy.
other in a sense. And to be honest with you, if I hadn't met Jake, I probably wouldn't be that big of a sports fan in general. I'm a musician. That's my like career. It's what I do for a living. Sports was not something I ever played as a kid. I was not aggressive enough as a kid to play sports. So like, I never had that like killer mindset that a lot of athletes have, and I definitely didn't have the discipline. You'll never catch me in a gym. You won't catch me in a gym now. But I tell you what, getting a chance to grow up with Jake was such a fun and unique perspective on life because even though Jake got to play football, the real like charm of meeting Jake and being friends with him is just the way that he analyzes the game and like the fact that Jake loves statistics. Jake likes watching film, and I always appreciated that because it was something that kind of attached me to the game, even though I couldn't physically play the game. It was something that got me like super psyched, right? It was something that was tangible. I could look at and go, oh, I can tell how good that player is because I'm looking at his stats, or I'm looking at how he runs a route if he's a receiver, or I'm looking at how he breaks down a defense if he's a quarterback. And that was something that, again, because I didn't physically play the game, like I had no concept of how to understand that, but like watching Jake play football growing up and stuff, I was like, oh, I can kind of get an idea of it. And I got all these stats I can look at, and I just love looking at rosters. Jake and I are obsessed with looking at rosters. It's like our favorite thing in the world to do. But especially we were born in an era where video games were starting to become so popular that we could look at overalls, and that was a huge deal to look at somebody's how fast is this guy? Put a number on that. How strong is this guy? Put a number on that. How good's his catching? Put a number on that. How good's his throwing ability? And like getting to do that made the game of football more digestible for somebody like me who doesn't play the sport. So I have become such a nut just like Jake has because of it. Now I can't sit here and name where everybody went to college and their height and weight and their favorite food like Jake can do. But I like to think that I competed there for a while, and yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. I always thought this would be a fun little idea for the two of us, just because yeah, Jake puts it in a good light. We do look at it in a different way sometimes. We'd like to romanticize it. We grew up watching NFL films and all of those things, and it's a little bit of a lost art form. I don't know if you would agree with me, but
Oh yeah.
it's not romanticized in that same way. I think it's not like I mean, I remember watching NFL films and thinking, God, it's just so cool to watch like people get real passionate about something like football. And nowadays, a lot of it is just kind of like it's more treated like a job sometimes, or people just kind of treat it as like, yeah, it's something I got to do to stay in shape, and I got to, kind of go through the motions. But man, it's just so cool watching people like get super passionate about something that they believe in and care about. And NFL films is always one of my favorites. But anyways, I'm very much looking forward to this. This is gonna be a lot of fun.
Dude, me too. Just the nostalgia alone is like my favorite thing. Like there is nothing better. And you've probably seen memes out there, on Instagram or whatever, but there's nothing better than getting together with your boys and just listing off a bunch of random NFL players or random sports figures that you maybe grew up with that you haven't ever heard of, or maybe you haven't heard in years. And it just brings something back. It brings a spark back. It lights you up on the inside. And that's what we're going to do. I mean, we're going to talk some of that stuff. We're going to be reminiscing on some great memories, talking about current day stuff. And I think, you brought up a good point, like the whole NFL films thing, right? Like the way that the game is portrayed this day and age is so different. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think
No,
the
not at all.
outreach is so much more. Like we got people across seas being able to watch NFL games now, and like things that are possible that weren't possible 20 years ago. I think obviously social media is a big contributor to that. But then you have the whole betting world too. Like that's a whole another piece to it. I mean, that was not a thing 5 years ago, even. I
No.
mean, it was always a thing, but you used to have to go physically in person to a bookie or a casino or something along those lines, or you'd have to do it illegally or whatever it may be. But now it's at our fingertips, and you're learning players through that, and you're learning players through, I don't know, whatever it may be, podcast shows, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, no, you make a great point, but I should probably introduce myself a little bit too, because for people that are just watching the show right off the bat, um, started off here on Nickel City Mafia, just doing shows with my co-host Mike Thornton, primarily just Buffalo Bills post-game, pre-game, just off-season shows, stuff like that. I've done a little bit of everything since, but always wanted to do something like this, and like to be able to do it with Ian, my best friend since I was 5 years old. The guy that we literally would sit in our bedroom or room or whatever with video game systems, playing ESPN NFL 2K5, grinding rosters, freaking writing down every play that happened, and writing whether it was a negative play, positive play for each and every player on the field. Like that's the level of obsession that we have with the game. So, man, we had to start this episode off with a bang, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, just some more things about me. Obsessed with the game of football. Diehard Buffalo Bills fan. Diehard NFL fan. Honestly, I really do like. It brings me so much joy just going on Pro Football Reference at night in the wee hours of the night when my wife is sleeping next to me, and I'm looking up stats of guys like freaking, I don't know, Oronde Gadsden and Sean Williams and Tom Arth. Shout out Tom Arth. We'll talk a little bit about him in the show. It just I love it. It just brings me so much joy and lights me up inside like you wouldn't believe. And that might sound weird to some people, and I hope it does, because I am a lunatic. I'm a psychopath when it comes to it. So not just being a football fan, I did play the game a little bit. Played in high school. Played for a cup of coffee in college, if you will. Played at John Carroll University, and then I did transfer to the University of Buffalo with intentions of walking on. Unfortunately, had a major concussion while I was at John Carroll University, which kind of determined my future, if you will. Ultimately, I did end up, receiving a tryout and an invite for UB, and had an opportunity to play there, but I decided, I'm going to work for the team instead. So I did end up working as like a student assistant manager there, and it was amazing. I got to experience everything I would have experienced without getting my head kicked in even more. So I think it was the right move, because I already have quite a bit of CTE. So I've been able to experience the game in a lot of different ways, at a lot of different levels too. And it's an awesome thing. I mean, I got to basically show up every day to work for 3 years or so at the University of Buffalo alongside Khalil Mack and Brandon Oliver and Alex Newts and Joe Licata and some of these other big names. Cam Lewis, actually, Cam came the year after I left, but it was just really cool to be able to interact with these former NFL, or these current and former NFL players that were then playing in college. And, then you meet other guys along the path, and then we get to interview freaking Andre Reed on our channel with Nickel City Mafia. So nonetheless, I am obsessed with the game of football. I love divulging in dissecting everything about it and just bringing a unique perspective, just because I feel like I've had a lot of cool experiences with it. So, yeah, today's a special episode because, first off, it's episode 1. It's the pilot. We're going to give this a shot. We'll see how it goes. And second off, we're going to be talking about the Buffalo Bills drought years. So Ian and I were both born in 1993. We were born at the tail end of that historic Buffalo Bills 4-year Super Bowl run. And, unfortunately, and I guess maybe fortunately, because I definitely would be in some type of therapy right now after 4 straight Super Bowl losses. We weren't really able to see those games. We missed that whole area and time. We were 1 years old at the time, or 0 years old at the time in the womb. So really all we knew our entire lives watching the Buffalo Bills was misery up until about 2017, and we endured a 17-year-long playoff drought. And you could pretty much check off the fact that the Bills were going to end up finishing the season 6-10 or 7-9 or 5-11 for a good portion of our lives. And, we both have unique perspectives because growing up, I was always a Bills fan, and Ian may have been the Bills' biggest critique, or critic, biggest critic. Yeah, that's the right word.
Yeah.
So, just kind of want to talk about that as just, how it was growing up, being a Bills fan during the drought era. Because I feel like, some of these new age people, they don't understand how good they got it, man. Like they didn't have to grind and go through a string of different coaches and quarterbacks and, lose in 2004 to the Pittsburgh Steelers to their second and third stringers, Tommy Maddox and freaking who's the other quarterback?
Brian St. Pierre, I think came in.
Brian St. Pierre, yep, and Willie Parker and Veron Haynes and et cetera, right? And a heartbreaking loss that probably would have never started that whole drought era. We wouldn't have had to worry about 17 straight years, but here we are. So brick by brick, man, this is, it has molded me into the Buffalo Bills fan I am today, but I do want to talk about, your experience growing up during the drought era because you had a unique perspective, being a Philadelphia Eagles fan and not a Buffalo Bills fan.
Yeah, I didn't I didn't get into football right away wanting to cheer for like a team. I just was so interested in like, especially because you and I growing up were really into trading cards because they were so popular back then. I just liked having the cards and looking at the stats and like watching the highlight plays and even just playing around with like the games on like the very old consoles. But like for me, I wasn't watching football games really. Like I know that for you growing up with your family, you would sit down and you watch games. I didn't watch games on Sunday really at the beginning of it because I was more interested in just like looking at the cards and like I said, like playing the video games of it and stuff like that. It probably wasn't until I hit like 10 years old or something like that. Probably when you started playing, like when you started playing football, like legitimately, like in middle school is when I started to get more interested in like, oh, I should watch football instead of just like looking at these cards and stuff like that. And for me, I thought it was similar to like it's a weird comparison, but I thought it was like religion. It's like, oh, just pick what suits you best. Pick a team that suits you best. You don't have to pick the team that you grew up with or whatever's closest. Just pick whatever suits you best. And that's what I wanted to do. So when I was 10 years old, I'm looking through Jake would teach me like, here are the teams. And he'd list off the teams. He'd show me the logos. I remember you had like I don't remember what it was, but you had something that had all the logos on it, and I would like look through it and be like, "Oh, these logos are really cool." Maybe it was like little mini helmets or something like that, or banners, the little pennants. Could have been something like that.
That's what it was.
That you had hanging in your wall, and I would look at all of them, and go, "Huh." And my favorite color is green. And to be honest with you, I picked the Eagles simply because it was like I like their color, I like their logo, and I like the fact that they're an old team. The Eagles were established very, very long time ago. I mean, I want to say they were like in the 20s even when they were first established, if I remember. Or I think it was 1937 because I remember the first draft pick didn't go because he went to World War. He went to go fight in World War.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
What a different time.
Jay something. Bear-Ranger, I think his name is. I'm not gonna.
Jay Bear-Ranger. Yeah. I think. Is that right?
He was like the first player ever drafted, and then he ended up going to fight the war, and so he couldn't play for the Eagles
right now.
But yeah, Jake's on it. But anyways, so I when growing up, I kind of thought of football as like, well, I don't have to root for the Bills. There, you got it.
Jay Berwanger. Yep, that's right. 1936 draft. University of Chicago halfback.
Oh my God, I don't even think they have a football team anymore over there.
He's
But
also, and fun fact about him, he was the first ever Heisman Trophy winner.
mhm.
Pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy too if you think about it. How we went from an era where like the Heisman winners were the best players for the NFL, so the Heisman winners and the finalists for them would get drafted high, and then as time went on, Heisman winners weren't the prototypical NFL player. So you would see Heisman winners going in like the fifth and sixth round, and
Yeah.
then recently it's kind of gone back to the Heisman winners are now the premier players. But it didn't
Right.
used to be like that for like a sizable chunk of time there. Andre Ware is an example of that. But anyways, um, yeah. So I thought that like, well, even though I live in Buffalo, I don't have to root for the Bills. I'm gonna pick a team I like, and I picked the Eagles. It also helped that the Eagles were very good at that point. They had Donovan McNabb, who I thought was awesome. I'd never seen a quarterback running around like that before, and like they had an amazing defense with like they had just signed Javon Curse at that point. Um, they still had Brian Dawkins, who I thought was like such a good player. Jeremiah Trotter was recently signed to the team. They had a really good
Yep.
offensive line, and they had just gotten who I believed was like well somebody who became my favorite player, which is Terrell Owens. I loved Terrell Owens. I loved the way that he played, and I at the time I loved his attitude towards the game. This is just like he was kind of thought of as like a diva or a bad boy, but at the same time, he played the game with a chip on his shoulder. And I liked how physical he got, even though he was a receiver. Because, like, you know, thinking about your prototypical receiver, they're usually small, skinnier, because they have to be fast and they get lit up if they run across the middle of the field. But Terrell Owens wasn't getting lit up. Nobody lit
He's
up Terrell
huge.
Owens.
A
Yeah,
specimen.
massive
Yeah.
dude. So I loved it. So I followed the Eagles for a long time, and then as you typically do when you're a teenager, you like to be a little rebellious. So I, at a certain point, I started just telling people, "Oh, I hate the Bills. I don't like the Bills at all. I don't even want to. I don't even want to root for the Bills. If even against the Patriots, I wouldn't root for the Bills. I was such a. I was. I don't know why I like. I felt like I had to stick it to Bills fans. Like, I'm not going to root for this team. I think it was just a rebellious thing. It was just like, I was a younger kid. I'm like, what's one way I can rebel against the city of Buffalo? Oh, I'm just not going to root for them. So I would critique the crap out of the Bills. Every move they made, I just thought was bad, and obviously, not every move they made during the 17-year drought was bad. But oh god, I would lay into it every chance I got. I'd root for the Patriots. I rooted for the Patriots every chance I got when they faced the Bills. I rooted for the Dolphins, the Jets. I just didn't want to have anything to do with them. So eventually, when I was in college, I was like, I don't really understand why I'm this biased against the Bills. There's not really a reason for it. I was just doing it because for no reason. So as I got a little bit older, and probably when you and I were in college, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna be like I'm gonna actually follow them. And I think it was actually when they got Rex Ryan that I first started being like, oh, okay, I'm gonna start following the Bills and stuff. I was interested in Rex Ryan, and that's just on the cusp of when they hit that when they finally broke the streak. But dude, I think the main thing for me during the drought was just like I can't believe how many coaches they just cycled through that all seemed very much the same
Yeah.
and just never seemed to establish any sort of consistency other than 7 and 9. 7 and 9 was the consistency
Dick
that our
Duran specifically, 7 and
Dick
9. Rest
Duran
in
loved
peace.
7 and 9's
Rest in
favorite thing
peace.
in the world. I mean, Chan Gailey, Mike Malarkey for a couple seasons there,
Yeah.
and I even forgot about Greg Williams being our
I
coach
know.
for like 3 years, which is
Yeah.
crazy to think about now because that dude, he's got a screw loose, but
He's a
it,
psychopath. I
he is a
love it.
psychopath. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I started getting into him, and then obviously it's hard not to love the team that you grew up with when they start winning. I don't like to think of myself as a bandwagoner because I probably knew the Buffalo Bills roster from 2010 better than most of the city knew the Buffalo Bills roster. Despite the
Absolutely.
fact that I didn't like them, I thought that I owed it to myself to still watch every draft, watch every I would still go to the training camps because even though I wasn't a fan of the team, I felt that I had to be able to defend myself if somebody asked me, well, why don't you like the team? And I can list every player and I can tell you, well, this is why I thought that Xavier Oman was a bad draft pick. And this is why I thought that signing Drayton Florence wasn't a good move. Like I knew every single player on that team. This is why I thought it was a bad idea to convert George Wilson to safety This is why
Wow,
stuff
that's a
like
hot
that.
take. Yeah.
Right. All sorts of stuff. Um, and despite that, I came out the other side saying to myself, you know what? I love the city of Buffalo. There's no reason for me to hate the city or I hate the team. And the last couple of years of the drought, I was really rooting for him to get out of it. And honestly, with Rex Ryan, I thought that they would. I really thought that they would. I had a
They were
lot of
close, man.
they were
Yeah.
very close. Even with Doug Marone, I kind of thought they would when they were 7-9 that one year in 20. I think 2014. It was when Kyle Orton took over, and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, they might. I think they have a shot at it. But and obviously since then, Bills have become obviously my favorite team. It's hard not to root for the hometown hero. And while I still love the Eagles, I tend to look at the NFL similar to how Jake looks at the NFL, which is there are no bad teams. I love all the teams. I love all the players. I don't have any issue with them. The only team I'm not a fan of necessarily is the Cowboys, but that more has to do with their owner than the team. I don't have
Yeah.
anything against Dak or any of the guys on the Cowboys, but it's more so to do with Jerry Jones. And once that transfer of ownership eventually happens, I won't have that grudge against them. But I love all of the NFL teams, and I love looking at all of their rosters and all of that good stuff. So it was definitely a unique perspective because everybody everybody really didn't like that I would like call them out and say these are the reasons I think that they're not good. I remember writing notebooks and writing my
Oh yeah.
critiques in notebooks and stuff like that of like and it was all Bills related. Even though I was an Eagles fan, I was all in on them. So, um, but
I love
yeah,
that, dude. Yeah, I'm glad you came out on the other side because honestly, it was
yeah.
trying at times.
There was
You
no
know.
reason to. I mean, like I said, I look back on it now and I kind of laugh because I'm like, why was I so like I really like had like a hate for the Bills. And I'm like, I don't know why I hate them so much. There's no reason for it other than just me being a teenager and being angsty,
Well, I
basically.
think what you
Yeah.
see too, and by the way, shout out to JP Lossman. I'm wearing my JP Lossman jersey, which still fits me because back in the day, Big LP, my dad, he'd always buy us jerseys, right? Beautiful gift, beautiful birthday slash Christmas gift. Um, but the thing is, he'd buy the jerseys and they'd be like a 3X. And it's
I
like, Dad,
remember this.
why are we getting these jerseys? I'm swimming in this jersey. Well, now that JP Lossman jersey that we bought back in 2004 actually fits me perfectly right now. So, shout out JP Lossman, number 7. Listen, it didn't work out like we thought it would, but always one of my favorite quarterbacks in Bills history right there. So, got to give him some props. I know. Listen, the guy had a cannon of an arm, just really couldn't figure it out up here. But 2006, man, I thought maybe this was the turning point. You know, he threw for like over 3,000 yards, 19 tuds, 14 interceptions. Him and Lee Evans were electric that year. I think we had brought Peerless Price back that year too. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
he did come
speaking,
back for a cup of
yeah, I'm
coffee.
like, here we go, right? And then after that, it just didn't work out. And then we moved on to Trent Edwards. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Yeah, I mean, you talk about just becoming a Bills fan. It's really fresh out the womb. And I do remember the Music City Miracle, but not super well. I was only 5 years old when it happened. So I never really got to experience that success. And I think where you come from, Ian, is you hear the frustration from the fans and you hear them being so negative on the radio, et cetera, et cetera. And, they had a right to be upset because I mean the team was just not performing and we're coming out of this era of excellence and now all of a sudden we can't even get to 8 wins in a season, let alone,
Yeah.
get to the playoffs. So it was really difficult at times. Yeah. I mean, you go to these games, the tickets were cheap as hell, but at the same time, you got a bunch of degenerates going to these games because the tickets were so cheap. And people care more about getting drunk than going and watching the Buffalo Bills play. And I think you saw that culture and that's what really turned you off to
Yeah.
watching the Bills. And then you hear people complaining, and it's like, this guy's complaining, but he's never played a down of football in his life. Like, you have no right to do that. So, and I hear that. I 100% hear that side of it because, I mean, you're getting it now with the other side where it's like, well, the Bills haven't gotten to a Super Bowl. It's time to fire Sean McDermott. But it's like, also, do you remember where we were 20 effing seasons ago where we couldn't even muster a 7-win season? And that's what really makes me appreciate it even more. Maybe that's why I'm a little more lenient with this regime because,
Yeah, for sure. Honestly,
yeah,
like that actually frustrates me more than anything that happened during the drought. It's just the fact that there are way too many fans that are like, well, what the heck? There's no Super Bowl yet. I'm like, dude, like look at the Raiders. The Raiders
Yeah.
haven't won a playoff game since 2002, and you're going to sit here and complain about. And like I know that you shouldn't compare it to other NFL franchises because you want to set a standard. Like look at, for example, like the Steelers, or look at who go to the playoffs every year, and the Packers and stuff. But at the end of the day, I think your point. I think the problem is that it's just you're directing blame at the wrong people, and Sean McDermott isn't the reason for it. It's the fact that you're witnessing, in my opinion, you're witnessing a Kansas City Chiefs team that is insanely well coached, and in my opinion, better coached than any any NFL franchise out there right now. And that's the reason. It's not necessarily, and I don't think that there's another coach out there that's going to equalize that, or you're going to make it
That's
so that
fair.
we're on the same page. But that's what really frustrates me. Is just like people who sit there and complain about every decision, or bash this player and that player for making a mistake, when at the end of the day, like again, the other issue I have is they just do it too early in the game. Like the game's not over yet, or like, oh, we should have beaten this team by 1 billion. I'm like, do you know how hard it is to win in the NFL? It's very hard.
Yeah.
Several teams in recent memory have not won a game.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine if we went 0-6-17
Oh
now?
my
Like,
God. Oh,
but guess what? Even when the Browns did that, fans still came out to watch. So if they have the patience to deal with an 0-17 team and then still show up and buy tickets to go watch them, and then guess what? They ended up getting a quarterback. I know they screwed up the whole situation, but like they ended up getting their quarterback and going to the playoffs in a couple of years. But
quick turnaround, really.
very quick turnaround.
Yeah.
It's honestly one of the more impressive turnarounds that you'll ever see for such a dejected franchise. But like, that's the way I view it, man. It's like if you look at that situation and you're going to complain about our situation and our quarterback, oh, we're wasting Josh Allen's prime, or we're doing this and doing that. It's like, you don't understand how difficult it is to run an NFL franchise and to get this whole thing. And I'm not saying that we do either, but I'm also saying that we
have an idea.
We have a much better and more like reasonable brain sometimes.
Yeah.
It's that we're not like shrouded by emotions when we're talking about all this stuff, because I think we kind of understand it. And like, I learned a lot from you since you got to play the game. Like I learned a lot about like what it takes for players to show up and put in the work. I mean, that's a grind that I'll never experience. And it's something that I can't imagine the physical tax on somebody's body to go through all of that, and then to make it as far as you do, and you lose it because of one player. I mean, in my opinion, I just don't think that fans should have the right to sit there and then bash the players for that kind of stuff. I mean, like, you have no clue what they had to go through. You don't think that they feel bad about it too? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That whole thing bothers me too, but
it's the biggest irony in sports. It's like you got these fans that are sitting there eating bonbons and they're complaining about a man who has the physical stature of a Greek god, out there doing things that they can never even fathom doing.
For DK Metcalf, like, that's definitely the case.
Yeah, it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, you can't do what this guy is doing, so you have no right to even criticize in the manner that they're doing it, I should say. Because, and maybe I'm starting a fake fight in my head, but it does really piss me off. Because I've seen it, dude, and I've gone through at least a little bit of the work that it takes to get to like the college level, right? To even get on the field and do stuff like that. And,
sure.
I've never made it to the pros. So that's why I'm always very like non-critical of players, because how am I going to criticize a dude that made it to a level that I never got to? You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think that's my biggest thing is like, and I'm not putting them on a pedestal like they're a god, but they are an athletic god. I mean, dude, they're a much better athlete than I ever was, than I ever will be. I can't even hold a candle to what they did in their career. So how am I going to sit here and criticize a dude that puts in the work and has gotten to that level? And, people are so, oh, must be nice, he's making millions of dollars. Well, do you know how much how much work and how much time that dude has had to put in, how much sacrifice that guy has had to put in to get to that level? He deserves every fucking penny of that money. And I get it. Like, I'm silencing my F-bombs, which is hilarious because, we're on Nickel City Mafia. We try to keep it child friendly, but sometimes you got to prove the point, right? So you got to lead it with a swear. I have a problem with it, and that I really do. I get ticked off. Like, it really upsets me when I hear people criticize players to that extent. It's okay to
Sure.
say, like, maybe he's not the right fit or maybe he's not the right player, or I don't know about this guy. There's a way of going about it. But when you get to the point where it's saying that this guy outright sucks and he's just not a good football player, period. Like,
Yeah,
stay in your lane, buddy.
at this day and age, there is none of that. I mean, this is not Vince Papale coming off the street that we're like, oh, we have open tryouts for the NFL. Like
Yeah.
every player who makes it to the NFL was a stud in high school, was a
Yep.
stud in college, probably. Like these guys aren't like, again, you're not asking your mailman to go out there and run slot routes and run routes in the slot. Like these dudes know what they're doing. It's just that some have more talent than others. But I think that this is what you wanted to get to the gist of. Like this is why we think of it in a different light. We just love the game. We love the players. And like, yeah, we have a lot of heart and emotion in the Bills specifically, but like we also don't sit here and just stew in pessimism. You know what I mean? And I feel like
Mhm.
there's a lot of that, especially in sports. Fans that call themselves fans who just get angry and start screaming at owners and screaming at GMs. And to me, I just think I think it's kind of lazy sports takes is
Yeah.
when you just do that. It's a lot of nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
That has become. I'm glad this has become less and less. But like, remember growing up when we would watch like ESPN First Take, and we're sitting there like, what the hell are these guys talking about? Like,
Yeah.
they're not
Yeah.
saying anything. They're just like spewing garbage, and fans would take that and then regurgitate that garbage back at like people like you and I. And we're like, but we have statistics and hard evidence that like this is a good player. Oh, well, that's not what Skip Bayless said, or that's not what Stephen A. Smith said. And I'm sitting there like, but we have such an interesting, I think, take on it because we just view it in a different light. And I feel like there's a lot more like logic and reason behind what we're saying and what we're doing. And obviously the emotions are part of it. I mean, anyone that's watched Nickel City Mafia knows there's no stopping Jake's emotions. But
Yeah.
at the same time,
Gotta be.
Jake knows the game better than most, and he knows what he's talking about, and he's not going to let his emotions suddenly say, oh well, this guy sucks. Like that's not going to happen. Like
Yeah.
Jake can probably tell you exactly what went wrong on a certain play, right? He can tell you if it was the offensive line's fault, the quarterback's fault, the receiver's fault, whose fault it was that play went awry. Um, and I think that's more to say about what we can provide, I suppose.
I
To
love that, dude. That's very well put. Yeah, and I think this kind of started, this whole thing, this mindset was shaped when I made a comment about Rob Johnson back in the day when he was a quarterback for the Bills. And I'm like, he stinks. That's what I said to my dad. My dad's like, he's playing in the NFL. He does not stink. Nobody stinks if they get to that level. And since that stuck with me. And then I remember the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl in 2002, the following season, and he was the backup quarterback to Brad Johnson. And Rob Johnson, gets himself a Super Bowl ring. And my dad looks at me, he's like, you think he still stinks? He just got a Super Bowl ring. I'm like, yeah, he's the backup quarterback. Dad. Like, I mean, Derek Brooks, like Dexter Lawrence, those guys got carried. Like,
Derek Brooks might have done something there.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, that's not the point.
Speaking
The
of that,
point
did you know
was,
he started 2 games that year?
who's that?
Rob Johnson.
Yeah, because Brad was hurt.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
started
I
2
think
games that year. Won both of them.
Wow. There you go. See?
I pulled up his stat. The first thing I did. This is another thing Jake and I will do. If somebody mentions a name, we're pulling up his stats.
We're on it, man.
Yeah,
we're on it. Yeah, to your point too. It's like it is a lazy take to just say outright, this person sucks or the team sucks or fire this guy, without like if you didn't put in the grind. And I know I'm gatekeeping. Riley tells me this all the time. She's like, you're gatekeeping the game. And I'm like, yeah, but also, like, if you weren't there when A-Train ran for 109 yards on 28 carries against the Colts in 2006, and we still lost 17-16 in a heartbreaking fashion, and JP Lossman threw for, like, I don't know, 100 yards maybe total that game. No, 83 yards. I'm looking up now. 83 yards passing that game. Like, don't sit here and critique this team. Like, you didn't put the work in, man. Like, you didn't earn that. And that's where I'm like, God, like, I want everyone to be able to watch this game, but like, don't come at us with takes like that. If you didn't, and you know what my favorite thing is, like, especially with Nickel City Mafia, is like a fan from another team will come in and they'll try to like say some stuff, stir it up a little bit. And I'm always like a kill 'em with kindness type of guy. Always. That's really what I try to do. Because at the end of the day, I want to bond with people. I want to talk with people. I want to do it in a respectful way. I don't want to tear anyone down because no one deserves to be torn down. But I do want to enlighten them on their team's history. And I'll bring up some like random players and stuff. They're like, who? It's like, do you really know your team as well as you think you do? Because you don't even know who like you can't tell
Yeah,
me
if
who.
you're coming on a show to defend your team, you better know.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
In
all
the
I have.
comments, especially, you give me a lot of ammo to come at you with. Like if you come at me as a different fan and you're like, say, a Dolphins fan or something, you're gonna throw out some stupid comment or whatever. And it's like, you can't tell me who Chris Chambers is.
I was
Like,
literally just about to say Chris.
you know,
I had
like
it in my head.
you
Chris
can't be
Chambers,
doing this. Yeah,
first name
like
that popped into my head. Snoop Minnis was the second, but Chris
right.
Chambers was the first name I had in my head.
There's levels to it. Like you need to earn. Like in some ways, you need to earn your fandom, and I think you can't. And that's another thing too. When the highs are high, celebrate. But when the lows are low, don't get so low that you're just gonna abandon ship.
That you quit.
That you quit.
You don't
I
quit
hate
on
quitters.
the team. You have to still endure and deal with
Yes.
it. I'll give you an example of like something that's not football related, but it's similar to your point. Recently, in this past year, I've been getting real into chess. I don't know why.
Oh, I
To
love
be
it.
honest with you, maybe this is just like I'm a big like I get into like weird hobbies, and chess has been my thing. So I don't watch, and I watch other people play chess. Like I watch some like people who are considered like grandmasters, like the best of the best play chess. If they make a mistake, I don't sit there and go, "Oh, that guy sucks."
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
grandmaster in chess. I mean, like I have no idea how, but I sit there and like I just enjoy the game. Like
Yeah.
I'm very interested in chess. So like I watch all the different moves and there are different openings you can do in chess to like start a game out. But I'm not sitting here critiquing how people play the game because I don't really know. I've only been playing for like 6 months. Like what do I know? You know, these people have been studying their whole lives. Some of them have been studying since they were little kids. They'd learn how to chess before they knew how to walk. So you know your whole thing about like earning your fandom, you can say whatever you'd like, you can root for whatever team you'd like, but maybe you should check and make sure that your opinion is valid to a certain
Yeah.
extent.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like I remember people complaining about even Josh Allen at first because they were just like,
Oh
he's
yeah.
never going to get over the hump. I'm like, well, give him a second. You know,
Right.
like
Give him a chance.
let him
Have we had
adjust
a
to the
quarterback
league
that's
here.
right? Like
Like a quarterback who had as much potential as somebody like Josh hadn't even been in the building for the last 20 years. I mean, you could say even since Jim
ever.
Kelly, we haven't had anyone in the building with that kind of like potential and that kind
Yeah.
of like this guy could be one of the upper echelon players in this game. And I just and to be honest with you, part of it is also that just ownership uh sometimes are a little too much of casual fans themselves. They hang on what their fans are saying, and
Yeah.
then they're like instinctually they go, well, if the fans are upset, we got to fire this guy, or we got to make a change at this position, or something like that. And they get a little too um, they want results way too quickly when this isn't the type of game to get results quickly all the time. It just isn't. I mean, look at what happens, this crazy quarterback resurgence that has happened in the past few years with guys like Geno Smith and Sam Darnold, and even Kirk Cousins to an extent getting better and better. Maybe not last year,
Oh
but
yeah.
like getting better and better as they go along. Like that's a real thing that happens. I mean, Rich Gannon is the earliest example
I
I
was
can
just
think of
gonna
as
say
a guy who
Josh
doesn't.
McCown.
Josh McCown. I
Fitzy.
mean, Fitzy as well. But like, you know, this is a game that doesn't always have instant results. It's very hard to I mean, hell, think of like a 50-yard touchdown pass. Do you know how hard that is to complete and connect
Yeah.
on? That's why it doesn't happen
Right.
every day. You might
Yeah.
see it a few times a day on an NFL Sunday, but that's also 16 different games going on, and you might see 5 of them, maybe if you're lucky. And like all of those 5 come right at the beginning of the highlight reel, right? You see the first 5 plays of the highlight reel for week 1 of the NFL season, and it's 5 50-yard bombs, and you're like, oh, this should happen every play. Well, it doesn't. It
Yeah,
never happens every play. I mean, you're lucky to get one. So y'all got to just chill.
I agree. I think obviously the evolution of fantasy football and video games such as Madden and then the MUT, which I can't stand. Don't even get me started on that.
What's
Is
MUT?
NFL
Oh,
ban EA or
my
NFL
ultimate
drop
team.
EA? Yeah, Madden
I
Ultimate
don't
Team.
even know what
Yeah,
that is anymore. I have no idea.
yeah. This is me just being the grumpy old man too, possibly, but like I think we'd all agree
We earned
in
our grumpy
saying,
old man status. We dealt with a 17-year drought, so we're allowed to be
yeah,
grumpy
of
old men for a
course,
little bit, even though we're
right.
not that old. We're not old.
No, we're not that old.
Not at
32.
all.
Gonna be 32. Not even 31 yet. Still 31. Yeah. Uh no, yeah. So my experience with the drought is, it was a lot of misery. It was dealing with a lot of this stuff. And I remember, Ian, there was a good moment. It was after a game we had gone to. You were like incredibly hungover. Maybe it was after your 21st. But we had gone with
uh,
Jeff and Caroline and your parents, and then after the game, we were back at our tailgate spot, and some dude walked by and he was talking about how the Bills suck, and I'm like, you think or EJ Manuel? He was saying EJ
I,
Manuel sucks.
I do
And I'm
remember
like,
this.
how many touchdowns you throw in your career in the NFL?
I remember
He's like,
that.
and I got kind of fired up, and
Yeah, you did.
I don't like to get confrontational, but this guy was going on and on and on. And it's like,
I
all
do
right,
remember this.
let's put this guy in this place. And he's like, oh, Pop Warner. I'm like, Pop Warner? Are you kidding me? You're gonna go to Pop Warner? Not even high school? You're gonna talk about Pop Warner football? Get out of here. That's yeah. So again, yeah, there's a lot of emotions built into it. I think, we were in a significant spot of Buffalo Bills history because we got to see the downfall, the build up, and the full on turning point to what it is now. And it's amazing. Like, I love it, dude. I mean, at a point, the best and most entertaining thing about this team was uh, not just the offseason, but during the season, it was hanging 10 with Hamden, Jabron Hamden, one of my
Well,
favorite, maybe my favorite all time Buffalo Bills
he
quarterback.
was
Like,
definitely one of mine. Again, and even though I
love
wasn't
him.
a Bills fan throughout a lot of that drought, there were still players I liked, and Gabron was one of my favorite. I don't know
Yeah,
why. I always liked Gabron Hampton a lot. But yeah, I forgot about that hanging 10 with Hampton thing. That
dude,
was
the
hilarious.
best. I mean, you go to some of these episodes, like Kyle Williams is in a swim race against Marshawn Lynch, and Jabron is like the referee, and him just sitting down with players on a weekly basis, interviewing them. Like, that was awesome.
Before
And
podcasts were a thing, really, and like you can
yeah,
actually like get some sort of connection with these players. This is what like an NFL team's social media would do is in the early aught or the late aughts as they call it in the early 2010s. This is how you would get access to like the personal lives of a player because
yeah,
now you just go on Pardon My Take and they'll just tell you, and that's amazing. Like honestly, it's one of the coolest things about living in this day and age and being a football fan is you get to like hear your favorite player coming off of a game and just talking about like, oh yeah, well, I kind of sucked this game, or I kind of did this, or oh that guy's trash, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm getting this kind of insight. I could never imagine as a little kid like getting to hear To talk about the last matchup he played against the Cowboys. Like I would have loved that as a kid, and
yeah.
now kids get to experience that on a daily basis. I mean, even baseball players will go in the middle of the season. They'll go on podcasts and just talk about, yeah, I got to start today. I got this is my routine, and you're like sitting there like that's so cool.
That is
You get to
amazing.
hear about the pitcher's routine before he literally starts that day. That's so awesome. They just had on two Miami Marlins. I think Kyle Stowers is one of them, and I can't remember the other one. But they had a game that day. They were in Chicago, and they're just talking about it. And I'm like, this is so cool that like in the middle of the season, you get to hear these players talk about like what they do as a routine, how the dugout is, how the clubhouse is, all that sort of stuff. Just like one of the coolest parts about being just a sports fan in general nowadays is you just get so much insight. It's great.
I know. I know, man. And yeah, there's a guy I had to just look it up because I wanted to make sure I got his name right. But yes, Joe Horrigan, pro football historian, is his job title. Like that is incredible. And I don't know why I just jumped to this point. Something that you just said made me think of it. Oh, I think that's what it is like, you appreciate the now, but you appreciate the now so much because of the history that we have with the game. We've seen the development over the years and like how it's kind of expanded and all that stuff. And it's like, dude, like we romanticize it. Again, I'm going to go back to that term. It's like we love NFL history and how it has evolved. Like there is a special piece in my heart for each and every era of the NFL that I've watched throughout my life. And right now, it's pretty awesome because we have so much extra access. But like back in the day, I mean, it was us playing ESPN NFL 2K5. It was us watching NFL films, like that stuff, and that's kind of how we got to know the players and know who they were, mic'd up when that became a thing,
Sure.
like that was a big thing. Just stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, we got to see really NFL Network come up too. Like back in 2003, Rich Eisen, who was fresh off of being on Sports Center for over the last decade or whatever it was, comes to NFL Network and he's like the lead guy. Like he's the poster boy. And now Rich Eisen is blown up. He's got his own show. He only does the special events now with NFL Network because he's like that much in demand and he makes
Right.
that much money just
Yeah.
crushing it, So we've got to seeing that come up too. We have seen some downfalls though. You talk about like NFL Europe, and now the fact that there is a London game every year. And now there's games in freaking Barcelona and Germany and all this other stuff. And it's like, I don't really necessarily love that. There is still the ELF, the European League of Football. That's still fun. Reed Sennett actually killing it. I think he leads the league in passing yards. Shout out Reed Sennett. Play with the Dolphins in that
Oh,
one
I remember
preseason
Reed
game.
said it. He played for the.
Yep.
He was drafted by the Eagles.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if he was drafted, but I do know he bounced around. He was
Played
with
with
the
them for
Eagles, he was with the
sure.
Dolphins, he was with quite a
He
few
might have
teams.
been an undrafted free agent with the Eagles. I know he's
Love
on
it.
the. Yeah, his jersey is an Eagles jersey on. He was undrafted to the Bucks and then
Yeah.
the Dolphins and then he went to the Eagles.
Yep. So yeah, you spend some time, But anyways, yeah, I mean, you're talking about NFL Europe and Jabron Hamden. It's like he won the MVP of NFL Europa. I think it was called NFL Europa at the time. They went from NFL Europe to NFL Europa. But like that league produced some players and Kurt Warner and Adam Vinatieri and Jake Daylight coming. He got a Delhomme and some other guys. So
Did you say Kurt Warner? Because Kurt Warner
Kurt
also
Warner.
came up from.
Yeah, Kurt Warner. I think Brad Johnson was in that league too. I mean, there's so many guys. It really is it's incredible just to see how the league has developed and what it's taken, removed, and done away with and added to and all that good stuff. Now, I am not a fan of the 17 game season. I really was strong about that. I felt like they should have kept the 16 game season just in terms of like numbers and just being in my head. Like I hate seeing like an 8-9 record. That's just gross to me. Like 8-8 or 7-9.
Yeah, 8,
Like
9.
there's
It's starting
something.
to get easier for me, but I
It
also didn't
is
like it. I said either 16 or 18. You should keep it an even number.
right.
I
Even number.
actually like the fact that teams could just be 500 because I think it defines them a little bit more. If you have a 9-8 team and an 8-9 team, it's like I have no clue like
What's the
how good
difference?
this team is. If they're 8-8, you can get an idea of like
Yeah.
about how good that team is. And it's just like I don't know. For me, I would agree with you. It's the same sort of deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, again, with the whole drought era, man, it's like you think of some of the moments that really stood out to me. I mean, some of the moments that I think of is like Drew Bledsoe, 2002, threw for over 4,000 yards. Our first 4,000-yard passer in Buffalo Bills history, Drew Bledsoe. We had two 1,000-yard receivers in Peerless Price and Eric Moulds that year. I think it's the only time that the Bills have had two 1,000-yard receivers. I don't know if Lofton and Andre Reed did it at the same time. Might have to look that up. They may have. They actually may have.
Yeah, I feel like they must have.
Not
Right?
certain on that though. They probably did. Yeah, they would have, right? Because it was it was one of the early 90s seasons, most likely. But anyways, I digress. That was the last time we had two 1,000-yard receivers in the same year. Almost did it with Cole Beasley and Steph Diggs a few years ago. But yeah, that shines out. That shines big time to me. Obviously, the 2004 matchup against the Steelers, where we lose on the last game to them, to their second and third stringers. Willie Parker absolutely killed us.
The one that I'm thinking of, and I'm trying to remember I'm trying to figure out what season it was, but it was a game against the Browns where
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say it. 6-3 Browns game. Derek Anderson, I think, threw for 39 yards that game, and we still lost. He completed
I'm trying to, I think it's 2007?
2009. 6-3.
Oh, I'm actually not thinking of that game. I'm thinking of another game we lost to the Browns 8-0.
Oh, and running back number 35, Jerome Harrison, was it?
I don't
think over 200 yards.
No, not that game. This was in the snow, I think, because I went to this game.
Oh, Jamal Lewis. Oh, another game that was in the 2004 season. Luke McCown started at quarterback for them. I think he only threw for like 30 yards. He had a horrible stat line.
The 8-0 game. It was Derek Anderson who was the quarterback, and it was Jamal Lewis. But I remember this game because it was in the snow, and I went to it, and it was one of the grossest games I'd ever been to. Because
had to have been 2004. Luke McCown was playing quarterback. It was his rookie year. He had to start for the Browns for whatever reason. I don't know what happened to Jeff Garcia.
I remember the one you're talking about for sure. But I looked at 2004, and we beat the Browns 37-7 in 2004. So it's not that one.
Okay.
But I want you to listen to this. This is the scoring synopsis for this 8-0 game against the Browns. Phil Dawson, 35-yard field goal in the first quarter. Safety at the beginning of the second quarter. And then with not time expiring, but a minute 22 left in the second quarter, another Phil Dawson field goal, and that was it. That's the whole game.
Oh,
can you imagine watching a game like that now? I mean, we had a similar game to that a couple of years ago with the Raiders and was it the Raiders and Vikings where they won 3-0?
Yep.
Yeah, that game was disgusting. Now that was when we had Trent Edwards. Almost pretty much no turnovers in this game. No turnovers either.
Captain checkdown, baby.
0 turnovers. And what's crazy is 14 combined punts.
Wow.
That is disgusting.
That is gross.
that is
that's
disgusting.
Football, baby.
I'm trying to even think of who you would. Now, Jamal Lewis had 33 carries, which for 163 yards, which is just that is something you will never see in the NFL ever again.
Isn't that
33
crazy?
Carries for 163 yards. I mean,
it just doesn't happen.
It was snowing so bad that I don't think that they could have done anything about it. But what's crazy also about this game is we were 7-6. We just destroyed Miami, and we had 3 games left. Very easily can make a playoff push. It was the Browns, the Giants, and then the Eagles was always going to be a tough one. But
lost all of them.
Couldn't make it. Lost all of them. Lost 8-0. I mean, how do you lose 8-0? I was like,
it's brutal. It's brutal, man. Yeah. So that other Browns game, the 6-3 game, Derek Anderson, 2 for 17, 23 yards, 1 interception. Jamal Lewis again.
Oh my God, that's a Tim Tebow stat right there.
It is. Jamal Lewis, 31 carries, 117 yards that game. Jeepers.
There's a lot of weird low scoring because I'm looking now. Here's the 2008 Bills. We lost 10-3 to the 49ers. With Alex Smith.
Oh my gosh. Was Isaac Bruce on that team?
This is not good. Oh no, this is Sean Hill, who is
Sean Hill.
He threw
Isaac was on the team, right?
Yeah, he threw a touchdown to Isaac Bruce that game.
I was gonna say I remember that. Yeah.
Trent Edwards started it, got hurt. JP Lossman came in and actually played better. Wow. Marshawn Lynch crushed it, 134 yards for 16 carries, but we didn't score any points. Also, one turnover. He fumbled, Marshawn, but that's it. No other turnovers. That's the crazy thing about these low-scoring games that we tend to have is we don't turn the ball over. We just can't do anything.
Yeah.
What's happening? How are we not able to do anything? Did you find what year is that 6-3 game? Because I can't.
That was 2009. So that was let's
2009.
October 11th, 2009. Dick Duran was our coach. Eric Mangini was the Browns coach. 2 players caught passes for the Browns in that game: Muhammad Massaquoi and Steve Hayden.
He was still playing for the Browns in 2009.
Sure was. I know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
that was his last season actually with the Browns.
Yeah, I was gonna say it has.
And now he's I think he's an O-line coach, Steve Hayden, for the Jets.
And just another disgusting stat line from Jamal Lewis: 31 carries for 117 yards.
I know.
They just ran that dude into the ground.
So Jerome Harrison, one of those years though, I
I know what
remember
you're talking
went
about because he
off.
he had like 200 and something, a
Yeah.
ridiculous amount.
Was it
I think it was
That was that
2009.
season. Yeah, it had to have been that season. And it wasn't against us then.
It wasn't. It wasn't. I think it was against. It was like the second to last game of the year.
yeah.
I'm
Man,
gonna
what was it?
find it, but I'm pretty sure it was in 2009.
He had a ton of it was insane. Let's take a
Here,
look. Yeah, all
I got it
2009.
here. I got it. I got it. It's against the Chiefs. 34 carries for 286 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Oh, oh my gosh. That's insane,
Now,
dude.
what's even crazier is the next game he had more carries, but he
Wow.
had 140 less yards.
What? And still, you're
he,
talking still 146 yards,
he
right?
had he had
Whatever.
39 carries for 148 yards. And then the next game he had 33 carries. They just
Jeez.
ran him like they were not they were 1-10. Why are they running Jerome Harrison into the ground like this?
That is nuts.
Talk about an
That's nuts.
absolutely out of nowhere game, because the 2 games prior to that crazy game he had 7 carries for 9 yards, 10 carries for 35 yards, and out of nowhere
Jeez.
he hits a 286 burger against the
What a
Chiefs.
stretch. Talking about running back performances, man, I'm thinking like that 2004 season always sticks out to me. It always will, because I feel like that was, I was always into football. I loved it. But I didn't really start to digest the rosters probably until 2003 ish. But that 2004, I
That's
think it
when
was
we got
more
the
special.
games too,
That's
and
right.
we memorized the ESPN roster like it's nobody's
That's
business.
just
I
it.
mean, we could sit here and tell you every player. We could tell you the face they were making.
Yeah. Tom
um,
Hart, 32 overall.
32 overall, lowest overall in the game. Now,
Most
let me
overall
ask you
game.
this: in that Jerome Harrison game, do you know who the quarterback was? I don't know
Was
if you
it
saw.
well, so it was 2009? Was it
This is
Charlie Fry?
2009. It is not Charlie Fry.
And it wasn't Derek Anderson.
Nope.
Let me think here. Jake Delhomme was there for a hot second.
He was, but he was not the quarterback in this one.
Seneca Wallace?
Nope. It is Brady Quinn.
Oh, Brady. Yeah.
10 for
Yeah.
17,
Wow.
66 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. And Jerome
Oh,
Harrison just carried them. And they won this game. Matt
jeez.
Castle was on the opposing end. He threw for 331 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Matt
And
Castle was a
actually,
good player, man.
Jamal Charles had 150 yards and a tutter as well on top of that, which is kind of
Wow.
nuts.
The Chiefs I feel like the Chiefs and the Bills are two franchises that always have a pretty good running back as their starter. As far as I can remember, like even talking the Bills, right? Again, going back to the Draught era, it's like Travis Henry, Willis McGahee, Fred Jackson, Fred Jackson, I should say. CJ Spiller even had a Pro
For
Bowl
1
year.
year. Yeah, he had a
Yeah.
year.
Then we had Shady.
I mean, Shady. Well, that's the thing
Mike
about
Gillisley the 1 year had 8 tuds with us as the backup to Shady.
Well, that's the thing with the Chiefs, because now the Chiefs don't really have a running back, and we are, well, before James Cook, we were kind of in that middling ground too, because like they had CEH for a little bit, and then like they would have like Kareem Hunt gone, Spencer Ware gone, like, and
Spencer
like they would have
Ware.
all those dudes.
Niall Davis
Gone.
Yeah.
Jackie Battle.
Oh, Jackie Battle, great name.
But like they also kind of went through like a weird time period around the same time that we did after we lost Shady, where it was like, who's our starting running back again? I can't really. But now we have James Cook, and makes things a little bit easier. Also, one more quick callback in that game, that Jerome Harrison game, Chris Chambers, 5 catches for 114 yards and a tutter for the Chiefs.
Wow.
So
Chris Chambers on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
That's a weird one to imagine.
It is.
I remember it.
Imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. He was with the Chargers too, and the Dolphins. Yeah. Dolphins was incredible. He had a monster game against the Bills in like 2005, I think it was. Caught the game-winning tutter. He had like over 200 yards that game or something. It was ridiculous.
He is.
There's a lot of games that stand out to me, just like growing up. You just remember these random games, like the Chiefs in 2004 against the Falcons. I think they won like 56-10. They had like 8 total rushing touchdowns. Derek Blaylock, Priest Holmes, and Larry Johnson, all of them went off. I think Priest actually got hurt in that game, I want to say. but they were all just insane back
Oh, I
then.
know what game you're talking about. I will tell
Ridiculous.
you a game I remember very, very well. I believe it was the Bills' home opener. I'm going to check right now to see if it was their home. It wasn't their home opener, but it was a game against the Patriots that they won in 2011. It was when we were first in college.
Oh, 34-31 Fitzy or
30,
37-34 was it?
34-31, and Tom Brady
34-31.
threw like 5 touchdowns. He
Yeah.
had 4 touchdowns and 4 picks. And I remember because I had Wes Welker, I think, in fantasy, and he had 16 catches for 217 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Rob had 2 touchdowns and 100 yards. Crazy game. But that's when we had my favorite receiver duo during the Drought era of Donald Jones and David Nelson. I
Oh, love
loved
that.
David Nelson. I
Yeah.
thought he was a stud. The fact that they put him in the slot, he was 6'5", was insane to me. But I loved David Nelson, and he was
He was
undrafted.
good. Yeah. He was good. Florida guy. Donald Jones was awesome too, man. He had a
Also
shortened career,
undrafted.
unfortunately. Yeah, he had some heart issues or something, I think, and that's why he had to retire early. But
Yeah,
he
but
was with Murph.
He comes. I was gonna say he pops up on the radio every once in a while, though.
Yeah,
I've
he's
noticed.
awesome. Youngstown State guy, Donald
Yeah.
Jones. Yeah, I miss him on the radio waves. He was good. I really enjoyed him. He had a great voice. I don't know what he does now. I'm sure he's probably still doing radio in some capacity, but
Drayton
yeah.
Florence had a pick 6 in that game.
Wow.
I remember
Man,
that.
great name. Drayton Florence. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's just like some of these players. And so I don't know if you guys can see, but behind me there, to that side, I have I think there's approximately 76 different jerseys on that rack. So I have just about every team minus the Dolphins, Patriots. I do have a Jets one. I have a Jonathan Vilma Jets. But growing
Oh well,
up, I would always
you're going to be getting a Patriots one because when I eventually give you my jerseys, there is a Brandon Bolden jersey in there from the Patriots.
sick.
Who
Dude, I love that.
One of my favorite players of all time. A guy who just was the most selfless player I've ever met or
Yeah.
I've ever seen. Like honestly, I mean, I can't. He played until he was 34 years old as
That's
a running
crazy, man.
back, and he basically just played special teams. And
Unreal.
unbelievably selfless player.
Brandon Bolden. God, what a name. What a name. I'm looking up his numbers again because technically he's still active, which is insane.
He's like a Mount Rushmore player for me. Like
that is a Mount Rushmore type of player. That's that. You talk about the Patriot way. Like that guy was the Patriot way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. To the core.
Him, my favorite player of all time is Jason Avant.
Ah,
Jason Avant.
yeah.
Love Jason Avant.
Great name. Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon Bolden's up there for me for sure. Obviously T.O. But yeah.
That's what I wanted to talk about a little bit. It's like talking about the jerseys that we collected growing up and like some of our favorite players. Like I remember your Joe Horn jersey is one of the coolest ones. You have it's like the white front and the black back. And I don't even know if they ever actually wore that jersey.
I don't think they did.
Yeah, that had to have been like a fake or something. But the Saints had some interesting uniform combos. I remember they had the gold jersey and black pants. And
they
obviously
had
they're still
that gold jersey was very weird, but I thought that, and it was black numbers with
numbers,
the gold jersey,
yeah,
which I thought was kind of cool. I always like to get the top receivers on players. Like one of my favorite jerseys, I can't wear it anymore; it's too small. It's my Steve Smith, but it's the light blue, jersey. For the Panthers, which I thought was sick. I'm trying to think of where the other jerseys.
Did you have a Javon Walker?
No.
I
had a Donald Driver.
Oh, Donald Driver.
Or I'm sorry, no, I had a Mon Green because I like the
That's
Mon
right.
Green a lot. I have a Mon Green jersey. I'm trying to think because I don't have a Dolphins jersey to give you there. I have a Charlie Batch jersey because of your dad.
Charlie Batch.
I'm trying to think of.
Oh, that's the best. Is I took so when you opened that Christmas present. This is from not that long ago, actually. But I was doing a thing where I recorded like 30 seconds from every day for a month.
Yes, I remember that.
Our Christmas party, and Ian's opening up the Charlie Batch jersey, and I reclipped it of him going like this, like out of shock, and then my dad says he's like laughing, he's like, "I thought it said bitch on the back." It's a great moment. Just a great moment. Hilarious, Big Al.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else. What other jerseys I had? I'd have to get a list of some players, some of the top receivers that I don't have like a Santana Moss. I have a Randy Moss, but that thing is extremely tiny.
It's a Vikings Randy Moss.
Yeah, it's a Vikings Randy Moss, and I have an Eric Moulds jersey as well. That is also it's the smallest
Now
jersey I have. Like I
was gonna
think
say,
I don't even think Maxey can fit into that jersey. Like that thing is
dude, it's
tiny.
funny. I have a Drew Bledsoe jersey from like the 3rd grade that I still have on that rack back there because it's like maybe someday like Sully or Maxie's gonna want to wear that. Who knows? I want
You
to
never
keep it.
know. I
I
have an
keep the
Isaac.
jerseys.
I,
It's like if people come over, they want to watch a game, they want to root for a specific team.
yeah,
Make sure
throw
to
a
throw it
jersey
on.
on.
Yeah.
I have an Isaac Bruce 49ers jersey, I'm pretty sure. And I
Oh, that is.
also have a Torrey Holt Jaguars jersey.
Oh, that's right.
Very
The
weird
one
jersey.
lone season. Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't even score a touchdown that season.
No, he
Very
didn't.
weird jersey.
Yeah.
But I desperately wanted to have each of on ESPN NFL 2K5, our favorite game. There are 4 players that have a 100 overall, best overall you can have. T.O., Marvin Harrison, Randy Moss, and Torrey Holt. And I wanted all 4 of them so badly.
You get a
And
Marvin Harrison too, right?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
on the Colts. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, the only team he played for.
Yeah. I was
But
gonna say
the Torrey Holt one is always my biggest regret because I wish I had it on the Rams.
on the
I don't
Rams.
know. I for some reason in my mind I was like, he's gonna play for the Jaguars for like 5 years. This is gonna be great. And he played for 1 year. It was done. He's out of there.
Dude, you want to talk about a guy that needs to be in the Hall of Fame? It's Torrey Holt. I don't know how he's not. Like, he was the epitome of consistency. Like, I want to say he may have been, it was maybe him that Mike Evans needed to pay, or maybe it was probably Jerry Rice, but Torrey Holt probably wasn't far behind. Yeah. From 2000 to 2007, so that's 8 straight seasons he had over 1,000 yards and 1,100 plus yards every
That's
single
pretty
season.
impressive. That's
that is, yeah. Talk about a guy
insane.
that perfected his craft. Like, he was legit. He had 2 1,600-yard seasons. Yeah. I mean, he needs to be in the Hall. 13,000 career yards receiving. Like, 11 years played in the league. Like, he was awesome. He was so good.
Yeah, for sure.
Torrey Big Game Holt, man.
I don't think I have any other jerseys I can think of other than I do have a Zay Jones jersey for the Bills.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because once I started getting back into the Bills again, I'm like, I need to have a jersey of a player who's on the team now. And so I got a Zay Jones jersey. And he ended up not being on the team for very long. But I really like Zay.
It's his uncle.
Who is? Oh, yeah, Jeff Blake.
It's his uncle. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, now, so Blakers has some pretty cool jerseys. He's got a Stephen Davis, Washington R-Words, 2002 alternate Redskins jersey. I'll tell you, dude, that's sharp with like the feathers on the side there, like on the sleeves. Oh, it's the burgundy. It's so cool.
Yeah,
like,
I'm trying to picture it. I can't remember the jersey too well, but that's awesome.
He's got that. I got him a Simeon Rice UFL. This is back when it was like the United Football League back in like 2008.
Because
don't
you have a Dante Culpepper, one of those too?
Dante Culpepper, Sacramento Mountain Lions. I got that back there. Yeah, we didn't get any more UFL jerseys, but I was looking into get more of those. It was a very short-lasting league. JP Lossman played in the UFL for a hot second. Las Vegas Locomotives, was it?
Yep.
Locomotives. Yeah. Man.
And the Sacramento Mountain Lions is
Sacramento Mountain Lions, yep.
Where Dante played.
There was so some of my other jerseys too. I have like a Mark Mariani Bears jersey, special teamer / slot receiver. Mark Mariani, great returner. Was a Pro Bowl, an All-Pro returner for the Titans. Who else do I have that's kind of unique? I have a James Starks Packers Super Bowl jersey. Now that one's near and dear because he played at the University of Buffalo, from Buffalo, actually Niagara Falls. And he was part of that really, really great Packers Super Bowl run. Honestly, he was a big reason why they got there. Like, he did some great things. Good running back, good player, really good player, nice career. Who else do I have that's kind of unique? There's some players, man, where it's like, wow. My favorite running backs all kind of resided in the AFC West back in the day. You had LaDainian Tomlinson, Priest Holmes, and then Clinton Portis, and then shout out Charlie Garner too. I mean, you talk about the AFC West back in like the early 2000s, dude. It was nuts in terms of running back stature. It was just incredible. Like, Priest Holmes may have had the greatest 3-year stretch ever for a running back.
It was a pretty insane stretch. It was an insane stretch.
Ridiculous.
And then the fact that the Chargers had LT, Michael Turner, and Darren Sproles all on the same team at one point is pretty nuts.
I know, crazy.
But Yeah, and the Broncos, I mean, after Clinton Portis, there was not much going on there in running back. They're still kind of struggling to find a guy that like really can last longer than like a couple of years. I'm trying to
Once
think of
Mike
like
Shanahan left, they stopped having 1,000-yard backs. Like it was always a given you were going to have a 1,000-yard back, regardless of who was going to be in that backfield. I mean, freaking Olandis Gary had over 1,000 yards rushing with the Broncos. There's some random players. Ruben Drones
yeah,
in
I forgot about
2004,
that.
Mike Anderson 2 times, I
Well,
believe,
it's
with the
Mike Anderson,
Broncos.
and then it was Mike Bell,
Mike Bell, did he have a
Selvin Young.
1,000?
I don't know if he had 1,000, but he
We got to look these numbers up.
or
Let's look at Broncos.
not Mike Bell, Tatum Bell did though.
Tatum Bell. Well, Mike Bell was there too. You're right.
Selvin Young was there. He led the
Selvin
team,
Young, great
and
name.
then Peyton
Yeah.
Hillis for a second.
Yep. Yeah, Tatum.
Uh,
So Tatum Bell had over 1,000 yards in 2007.
yep.
Mike Bell did have 8 touchdowns that year, actually, too, as his backup. He had 600 yards.
And then
Who
No
else
Sean
was
got drafted there, and it was No Sean for a while. And then Willis.
no Sean? Yeah, Willis. Yeah. So actually, it's funny. I'm looking here. Was it? Wow. So Mike Shanahan's last year as the Broncos coach was probably their worst rushing season in quite some time. Their leading rusher was Peyton Hillis that year with 343 yards.
Yeah, it was bad.
Behind him was Michael Pittman Sr., for those of you out there who don't know who Michael Pittman Sr. is, look him up. Just a bull of a back. But wow. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy. But yeah, back in the day, man, you were guaranteed a 1,000-yard rusher anytime you had Mike Shanahan as your head coach. Crazy. Yeah. Great history, man. I love looking at these numbers. Like, it just gets me so excited, gets me so hyped, We're going to do a lot of this throughout the show here. I think this is going to be a fun one. Pigskin Poets, man. I came up with this name through Chat GPT. I just kind of looked it up. I said, give me a name of a podcast that talks about the romantic side of football and like reminiscing on fun things and talking about football in general. And this is what it came up with. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. Pigskin Poets. So Mike liked it. Ian liked it. So we're going to roll with it. Episode 1, baby. Got any closing thoughts?
No, I mean I'm pretty excited to do it. I'm excited to. I think the other thing we got to try is a bit of a trivia element, just to test our Jake and I's knowledge a little bit, because the amount of stuff we can rattle off is insane, and we should incorporate the immaculate grid in here a little bit. Do one of those.
Oh, absolutely. Should we rip one right now?
I have it up.
Let's do it. Let's do it, dude. Yeah.
Let me do one of these, and then click this, and then I want to do this. How's that look?
How it looks here. We'll add it to the stage. Yeah. There we go. Not bad.
Is Rebloza right for your patience?
We are not sponsored. Maybe in the future. Who knows? We'll see.
Hey, whatever Rebloza does, I'm sure it's great.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the one for today. We don't have to do this one. One thing I am going to show real quick. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Where's like previous grids? Yeah. I'm just going to show. So I've done some of the previous grids, obviously, in the past because they're so much fun. But I have to show you the best one I ever had, which is this one right here.
Wow. 10.
Look at these names.
Oh, that is beautiful.
And actually, I was a little disappointed that Musa Muhammad was what I chose for this.
Yeah.
But like 0.03 Reggie Brown, Musa Smith.
That's
0.01,
amazing.
And then Cade McNown 0.08. I'm very proud of that grid. And this is, I don't know why, but whenever I have Vikings Eagles, Greg Lewis is my default.
That's a great name. Yeah.
No idea why. It just is.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Wow. Dude, the Musa Smith poll was incredible there too.
Only played for him. Never played for any other team. He only played for the Ravens. All right, so yeah, let's do today's. All right, so this is what we got. You know what trips me up actually, that I don't you wouldn't think it would trip me up, but like whenever I see this logo, I just don't think the Rams anymore. Like I don't think of St. Louis anymore. So it's hard for me to think of old players when I see this logo. Because like you could put Joe Namath in this first one.
Right. And this is so the 5,000 plus rushing yards is not necessarily with that team. It's throughout that player's career. And if
Yeah,
they did play a down for that team, then they would count.
exactly.
Okay.
So like
Okay.
Eric Dickerson could go here, or like
Right.
Steven Jackson could go here, or you know,
Makes sense. I like it.
something like that.
Okay.
So my first thought was
Oh, this is good. This is really good. Think of like an old back that
Deuce
just like
Staley could go here.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, Deuce Staley for sure.
Ricky Waters can go here.
Probably
Just
not Corell Buckholter.
no, he didn't have 5. No
Not quite.
chance.
Yeah, there's no way.
No chance.
Dorsey Levens probably would
You think
play
he
there.
had 5,000?
I do. Yeah, I mean he had a couple 1,000-yard seasons. Although 5,000 yards is a lot, though.
It's a lot.
You know,
It's a lot.
Dorsey Levens. That's tough.
I tend to like to start with these ones first, and then I do the other ones when I do them. So
I mean, not a lot of people would know Charlie Garner. Charlie Garner played with the Eagles.
it's true.
You know,
And most
and
people
he
would put him for the 49ers.
Right. He definitely had. Yeah.
I'm gonna put him in.
0.7
or 0.7, like that.
Yeah, we'll take that. Yeah, that's not bad. Good start.
Kevin Barlow, I think, did have 5,000 yards, or he was very close.
I mean, he had 1,000 yards in 2003.
You know what we could do? Put Brian Westbrook here.
Oh, now that's a good pull. Yes, Brian Westbrook.
Because
now
again,
I'm wondering. 0.6. Wow, that's really
because
good,
people would put him for the Eagles, but not for the Niners.
Right. Hey, that's a nice little flip flop we did there. I like that.
Yep.
Okay, so Rams.
You know who I was thinking about the other day for the Rams? Remember Trey Mason, and like how he thought that he went missing, and then he thought the government was out to get him or something. I was telling somebody about that the other day. I don't know why it got brought up for some reason, but yeah, I don't know. I was thinking of Trey Mason. He was a running back for them for like the middle of the 2010s or something like that, 2016, 2015. Who's somebody that like ended their career with the Rams?
Did Sonny Michel have? No, he didn't. He didn't get the 5,000.
I don't think so. CJ Anderson.
Oh, CJ would be close.
That's close. That's close. Also, you could put Jerome Bettis. I'm not going to put Jerome Bettis, but like that's something that not a lot of people know. Is he started his career there?
Right. Like Greg Bell. Greg Bell's a name, but I don't know if he got the. I mean, he's part of the three-way trade. Him, Cornelius Bennett, and Eric Dickerson. He was. I think he was Offensive Rookie of the Year with the Bills.
He had 1,000 yards in a year, but I don't know if he ever had 5,000 career.
Well, he did with the Rams too. He went off with the Rams. I don't know, 5,000. That's tough, dude. Like
it is tough.
I don't know, man. He may have gotten 5,000 though.
Yeah, I mean, like it's
usually guys.
It's easy to put Marshall Faulk, Steven Jackson, Todd Gurley. If you're looking for that, you're in the wrong. You're in the wrong video.
Yeah, no, that's not us. That's not.
Not looking for that.
Craig Bell. I want to do it, but I'm also skeptical. I feel like he's right on the fringe, so maybe we just say no.
What we could do is we'll skip this one and we'll go and do the other ones, and then we'll put Greg Bell in at the end, just see what happens. So, like, are there any that are sticking out to you for any of these? Here's a guy. I think didn't Curtis Conway play for both?
Sure did. Games? Sure did. Yeah, Curtis Conway, great pull.
Second name. That's kind of crazy.
Point one. Fun fact about Curtis Conway: married. Actually, they may have gotten divorced, but married to Muhammad Ali's daughter.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
And think about that. So, like, Eagles, Jaguars, you could obviously put Nick Foles. That's a back burner one, but like, not necessarily looking for that.
There's another quarterback though.
There's a tight end.
Mike Kafka. Mike Kafka. Would that? I don't think he played downs though. That's
the thing. They have to. So for the Immaculate Grid, you have to have at least registered a statistic for the team.
That's tough.
I don't know why Chris Loser is popping in my head, but I don't think he played for the Eagles.
Oh, Chris Loser. Yeah, that's a good name.
Like Blaine Gabbert would work here for these two. There's another CJ Beathard, I think would also work.
He beat hard, yeah, for sure.
Um,
Very recent though. That's the only problem. So he might
yeah,
be.
that is
Trying to think of like
problem.
Aspen guys like that. That's going to get us the lowest possible percentage because we need to try to beat a 10. I mean, that's the goal here.
Let's see.
Man, these are tough.
The Jags one is tough for me because they
I feel
only
like Jags
existed.
Rams. That's Torrey Holt.
Yeah, but like they only existed since 1995, so that also makes it tough because it's like you only really have a certain pool of guys to pick from.
Greg Robinson,
Hugh Douglas.
Oh yeah, Hugh Douglas for sure. But
that's the other thing I've noticed. Very rarely do you see defensive players get put up here.
People that play this game too, no one's pulling Hugh Douglas. Not many.
No one's pulling Hugh Douglas.
Hugh Douglas is safe, probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep that as a back burner.
Potentially.
Yeah. Like this could be Mark Sanchez as well. But like quarterbacks.
Robbie Anderson? No, not Robbie Anderson.
Chosen Anderson.
Chosen, yeah.
Yeah, quarterbacks are usually super easy to just kind of like grab. Offensive linemen is what you want to think about.
Yeah, O-line is good. Yeah. I'm
thinking of a guard. Did Brandon Moore play for the guard? Brandon Moore, did he play for one of these two teams?
No, I don't think so.
Nick Fabini.
Jason Fabini.
Or Jason Fabini.
He was good. No, I think he was with Dallas and the Jets.
Did Brad Meester play for any of these three?
Brad Meester. Like fullbacks too. You got to think fullbacks are probably great pulls. Like Mark Edwards. Gosh, that'd be a great pull. But
did Mark Edwards play for the 49ers?
I don't think so.
Mark Edwards, Chris Fuumatu Ma'afala.
Yeah, great name. One of the best names of all time, honestly.
It is a great name.
I don't think Greg Bell got the 5,000 now that I'm thinking of it, dude, because he had like a 1,000-yard season with the Bills, and he had one really good year with the Rams. But other than that, he was very injury prone.
That was kind of it, yeah.
And he was always lower, so I'm gonna stay away from him. But I do think he was probably close. He probably was in the 4,000s.
There is a tight end that played for both of these teams here, and I'm trying to think of who it is. That there is a tight end that I'm thinking of that played for both the Jets and the Rams, and who was that? Oh,
not Ernie Conwell.
No, I don't think Dustin Keller did either.
No, Dustin Keller was Jets and Dolphins. Talk about a tough career ender. I mean, he tore like every ligament in his knee. He was a really good player.
That was it was in the preseason when he did that.
Yeah, and it's crazy
because seeing it.
That was like the first legitimate Jets tight end in quite some time. I mean, I can't think of. I mean, they've tried and failed so many times with the tight end position. The Jets just don't. They don't got tight ends, man.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and throw in Hugh Douglas.
Yeah.
4%. All right, I mean, that's okay. Not bad.
What else do we got here? Jags and I mean Tayshaun Gibson, but I feel like that'd be a popular name. Maybe not though. But Tayshaun Gibson for the 49ers and Jags.
Yeah, that is definitely one. Isn't there a punter who played for both these teams? There's a punter in my head for some reason.
I mean, Tom Tupa is a great name, but I feel like he.
I don't think he played for the Jags. I'm trying to think of who's their punter on Espen. Chris Hansen.
Chris Hansen, yeah, he was with the Pats. Jags and Niners.
Do Blake Bortles for
Oh, actually, yeah. I feel like that'd be a popular poll. Just
probably. I'm going to do Tayshaun Gibson because I bet you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Have you? 3%.
3%.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Anything below like anything in the single digits is not bad, I would say.
Problem is, we're already at 7 now, so it's like to get to 10, it's gonna be tough. We got to get a bunch of point.
Well, the way that they come up with the points is a little different than you might think.
Oh, you don't just add them together?
No, it's a little different than that.
Gotcha. Okay.
At least I'm pretty sure it is, because it doesn't. You don't have even numbers here, and I don't know how they do that necessarily.
The 5,000 plus rushing yards is going to be tough to get a guy that's like not a
That's
super
obscure.
notable.
Yeah, we gotta think of
feel
some
like we're-
Rams players here. Mike
I
Carney,
know.
Nissan.
Mike Carney, Nissan.
Joey Goodspeed, did he play for either of these teams? Dane Looker?
No. It's tough, man.
I know I can't think of anybody. The only other name that's popping in my head, but I don't know if he played. No, I don't think he did.
If people are tuning in right now, probably screaming at their computers like Marshall Falk or Steven Jackson. Again, just to reiterate, if you're joining us now, this is trying to get the lowest possible score. So we're trying to think of the most obscure name possible. We want to get the lowest percentage hits.
Yeah, that is the goal. Man. I'm just trying to think of Espen Rams players like Minimo. I can't pronounce his name.
Pinotino Samoa.
Yeah.
He was a Bears and Rams.
Oh, there's a cornerback I'm thinking of that played for both these teams. Oh my God. Is it Kyle Wilson? Did Kyle Wilson play for the Rams? No. There's another
great
dude.
pull though. First round pick out of Boise State back in
Buster Screen. Did he play for
Buster Screen was Jets and Browns.
Dude, there is a corner I'm thinking of who played for the Jets. I remember on the Jets, and he played for Artrell Hawkins. No, not Artrell Hawkins. Who was I'm thinking of a guy with
Derek
cornrows for some
Strait.
reason.
John McGraw played with the Jets and Chiefs, though. No.
Reggie Tongue.
Reggie Tongue, Seahawks and Jets. Man.
Dude, there is a corner, and I it's bugging me that played for both of these teams.
I know.
There's a
I'm
corner,
really.
and there's also a running back that I'm trying to think of that played for both these teams that is eluding me right now.
Who are some like really notable?
I bet you Torrey Holt doesn't pop up very much on here.
You don't think?
No, I bet it's under 10%.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, he did only have 1 year with the Jags.
I bet you it's under 10%.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, dude. Okay.
3%.
Wow. Man, not a lot of real ones out there, huh? Jeez.
Well, you also have to keep in mind that this just got posted today. So like
okay.
The other thing is like unless you are like doing these every day, yeah, like the longer that it goes on, the harder it is to get a low score. But like if they're today, it's a little bit easier.
Makes sense. The 5,000 plus rushing yards, man. I'm trying to think of some like journeymen or.
I can only think of C.J. Anderson, and I don't think that he got there.
I don't think he got there, and I definitely don't think Greg Bell got there too.
But C.J. Anderson did have 2 1,000-yard seasons, so like, it's not impossible.
Yeah.
I just don't know if he played that long is the problem. Yeah, did any of those like? Oh, didn't Lamar Miller play for them? Not the Lamar, or I'm sorry, Lamar Smith.
Lamar Smith. No, he never played with the Rams. He's a Dolphins Saints.
Trunk candidate never got 5,000 yards.
No, trunk candidate, man. First round pick, 30th overall. Never did any 32nd maybe or 31st or something like that. He was one in the 30s. Yeah,
it's in that area, dude. Who is this cornerback? It's bothering the hell out of me that I can't think of this cornerback that played. I can picture him because I remember a Madden series where he was playing for both these teams. It's bugging me.
Man, Jets Eagles, I feel like we should be able to get.
Yeah, we probably should.
There's a returner that I'm thinking of, and I can't. I mean, Michael Vick, you could always put there too, but that's too easy.
I don't know how many of them know he played for the Jets.
Tim Tebow, but I don't think he played it down for
Yeah, I don't think so. I was just saying, Mark Sanchez played both, but
yeah. Oh man.
Oh, could you do
I
no.
mean,
I was gonna say AJ
there
Feely.
is.
I don't think AJ Feely didn't play for the Jets though.
Josh Johnson, I think, played for both the Rams and the Jets. I don't know if he.
Oh God,
counted
yeah.
towards.
Who knows, man?
Like they don't have to register a stat; they just have to be on the active roster. Is that right?
No, they have to register a stat. I think.
Okay, so yeah,
I
no,
think.
never mind then. Oh, I mean Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Josh McCown works for this too.
Yeah, Josh McCown, Ryan Fitzpatrick for Rams Jets, but that's like an easy.
That's a layup.
It is.
Who is trying to think
fullbacks? I think fullbacks. Tony Richardson. No.
I can only remember Joey Goodspeed and Richie Anderson. Richie Anderson didn't play for him.
He's Cowboys and Jets.
Yep.
Man.
All right. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do Josh McCown for this one because he did.
That's a good. That's a good
stats,
name.
And I always like putting Josh McCown in if I can. 5%.
All right.
Love that. And then for this one, I mean, I say we gamble on this at the end. Try to come up with something for this, and then we'll gamble on like CJ Anderson or something at the end here for that one. But let's really try and nail down a Jets Jets Rams.
Jets Rams, man. Jets Rams.
Joe Klopfenstein ever play for the Jets?
No, but that's a beautiful name. You talk about a guy that was signed and re-signed a million times.
Yeah, he was on the plane. He was on the plane out of here, and
like,
then
just kidding, just kidding.
Yeah, come on back, dude. Offensive linemen too. I feel like we got to think of some offensive linemen that were interchangeable here. Brandon Moore never played for him, huh?
There is a Ram offensive lineman though that was with the Jets, and
Robinson.
It was Robinson, not Greg Robinson.
Roger Saffold. He ever played for the Jets?
No.
It's another name I'm thinking of. What about ones that played for the Jets specifically? What was that one dude that worked at Barstool who played for the Jets? The guard.
Oh, Willie Colon?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's only Steelers and Jets, unfortunately.
Steelers and Jets.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Wow, this is tricky, I gotta say. Huh.
Who was the one guy?
Safeties or corners or anything like
the corner. I swear I'm thinking of a corner, and when we get done recording, I'm gonna remember exactly what it is. But there is a corner that I'm thinking of.
Derek Strait? No, I don't think Derek Strait.
No, he's not on Espen, the corner I'm thinking of. This is like 2009, 10, 11. That sort of year. Did Kerry Rose ever play for the Rams?
Joe Namath, actually, you could technically use too.
That was the first one I came up with, but like,
yeah, I know. No, I feel like Kellen Clemens.
I don't think he played for any other team. I think he only ever played for the Jets. I was thinking of Kellen Clemens too, but I don't think he played for the Rams.
Oh, here's a poll for you. Zach Stacy.
That's a great name.
Now, Zach Stacy kind of in some shit right now.
3%?
Wow, 3%? Get out of here.
That's insane to me.
And the only reason I remember this is because I recently saw a video about a guy talking about his whole freaking domestic violence. Awful, like horrendous acts, like dragging his girlfriend horrible. I don't know what happened to this guy, but
Jesus.
damn, 3%'s a lot. I didn't think there was gonna be that.
I'm shocked by that people couldn't remember Charlie Gardner, but they got Zach Stacy. That's crazy to me.
That's insane to me. I mean, I guess recency bias, right?
I think I want to try CJ Anderson. Like, I think he might have gotten there.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Nope.
Oh,
yeah, see, like the score is 120. So even
Yeah.
like they didn't add that up. I can't remember how they do it, but
I want to know, like,
so sometimes
was
they
the
will
best
tell
answer?
you. They'll show there's only 12 guys. There's only 12 possible solutions. So they tell you who the 12 are, and it's like, well, they usually tell you who the 12 are. If I click show, it should tell me.
Oh, are they making you become a member now?
Yeah, they are making me become a member. Well, normally they will tell you, but these are the most popular. Oh, see, Joe Namath was 40%, so I'm glad.
Oh wow, yeah, that would have been bad.
Nick
Mike
Foles,
Vick,
Sid Blaine Gabbert.
yeah.
Really, Frank Gore is the highest? I mean, that's kind of crazy to me. Mike Vick's there. Obviously Saquon.
Now, humor me here. How many rushing yards did both CJ Anderson and Greg Bell have? I want to see because I feel like
let's take a look here.
You know,
CJ.
Oh wow,
3,500 basically, yeah. And then Greg Bell, I bet you he had more.
Oh my gosh, look at how close, dude.
Oh,
I'm glad we didn't put him, but look at those 2 years with the Rams.
That's insane. That's insane.
And then with the Bills, he was he was an All-Pro and a Pro Bowler his rookie year. Crazy. And then
he was second in Offensive Rookie of the Year votes.
Crazy.
That year.
I mean, look at that. I mean, he had 1,100 yards, 800, and then he went downhill. It just the injuries were brutal.
How was he in college? Wow, he wasn't even that good in college. His statistics
were wild. The injuries. I remember he always had an injury problem, and they took a risk and took him freaking in the first round.
Yeah, he played great.
Different times back then.
Yeah,
wow, Greg Bell.
For sure.
I really wonder now though, like who were the other names?
You have to consider it's probably Marshall Faulk, Todd Gurley, and
Steven
Jerome
Jackson.
Bettis and Steven Jackson. So those four are in there, and then Eric Dickerson's in there.
Eric Dickerson.
So there's almost half of them.
I'm gonna look this up right now. Rams.
Who was that guy that played for the Rams that had like all-purpose yards? He was big with all-purpose yards. Flipper Anderson.
Oh, Flipper Anderson. Hey, 336 yards. He held that record for quite some time. Oh, dude, here's a name, Lawrence McCutcheon.
Yeah, he just popped up on my radar here, Lawrence McCutcheon.
Dick Bass from the 60s.
Oh,
Dick Bass, great
How
name.
do you forget Dick Bass?
He died pretty young. Yeah, shoot. Dick Bass. This is interesting though because I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be with the Rams. I just looked up Rams 5,000 yard rushers, and there's only 6 that did it with the Rams. But
yeah.
Obviously, this is
obviously there's other dudes that were on the team at some point.
Who else can we?
I'm just going to like a random thing and just looking at like who the running backs were for the team. Remember Kenneth Darby?
Kenneth Darby.
CJIU is popping up on my screen for some reason.
CJIU, great name.
He's not even a running back. I don't know why he popped up on my screen as a possibility, but he's there. There he is.
It escapes me.
It's not someone recent, I can tell you that much, because I'm looking at these recent players and I'm like, there's no way any of these guys are close.
Wendell Tyler. Played with the Rams and 49ers. He was pretty good.
Yeah, I see that. He had a couple 1,000-yard seasons.
Wendell Tyler, yeah, he was pretty good.
Goodness.
And then
random here. I'm looking at 1991. Let's see who the running backs were. We got Cleveland Gary, Robert Del Pino. What a name. Goodness. All right, well.
I love this though. This is the type of like tangent that this puts us on. You know, we're into it, man. Well, that was fun, man. First episode down, the pilot episode.
Yeah.
More to come.
Absolutely.
You know? I really enjoyed this. Like it puts a sparkle in my eye like nothing else does. Outside of maybe my kids, and my wife. This is it's really what does it for me. So this is great. Pigskin Poets, man. We're live. We're here. We hope you all enjoyed the show. Episode 1. Here we are. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Leave your comments below. What was your experience like growing up during the drought era with the Buffalo Bills? Are you a Bills fan? What team do you support? Who's your favorite player? I mean, do you agree with what we had to say in general? Would love to hear your thoughts. Would love to hear your takes. We're always open. We're open for criticism. We're open for agreements. We love to do it. Just do so in a respectful way. That's all we ask. Let's have a good conversation. But nonetheless, dude, I'm ready to roll. This is great. I'm excited for the show. And episode 2, stay tuned, man. It's coming out
Awesome.
quick.
Sounds good.
We'll be getting after it. So you guys take care. And as always, go Bills.
Go Bills.